up, guys? Fusion Fury here. I'm gonna be doing a really quick video. I think I might actually do this every day for the major qualifier. I think it's I don't know. But again, happens every goddamn time. I got into an argument with Senor Hayden about some teams, okay, and I wanted to make my predictions for these coming up games. What I thought about it, what teams I thought were looking hot coming into this tournament. Some of the teams that I mentioned, saying that they're going to be pretty hot coming into the tournament. Who knows? Maybe I don't predict them to come out into the major. I feel like it's kind of hard to predict something like this because a lot of these teams are getting a lot better, and you don't really know what to expect from some of these teams. And to be honest, there's some teams here that I have no idea how good they are. And I have no idea. I'm just going off of some scores that I saw on the Score Esports when I was watching the minor, and I was looking at scores. I did watch a little bit of the EU minor, actually quite a bit of the EU minor, to be honest with you, especially towards the end. So I got to see all the last few games for sure. Actually, quite a few. As for the North American, I didn't really watch too much, if I'm honest. I looked at which teams were going to be in the NA minor and just kind of realized that it was pretty obvious who was going to make it out, other than maybe COG. I think COG is one of those teams that is just, like, put them up against foreign opponents, and they are really, really good. Like, they're good against EU for the most part. They do better than pretty much any other NA team at EU tournaments and other, at other tournaments. They do really, really well, and I think that if you took into account all the North American teams right now and you said which one does the best against European teams, I think COG has shown that they are pretty damn consistent as of this year at competing against these European teams. I think that they've done by far the best job at it. But unfortunately, they did not make it out of the minor because I think they struggle against domestic teams, Optic, Cloud9, Liquid. I don't know if it's maybe fragging power. I don't know what the issue is, but they just cannot seem to do consistently well against Optic, Cloud9, Liquid. And arguably, I'd say COG is better than Optic at the moment. I'm an Optic fan, but I think COG is probably better, if I'm honest. But they are not here. Therefore, I will not discuss whether or not they're going to make it out of, obviously. So we're going to start with our first match, G2 versus Immortals. I don't know what it's going to bring us up. Okay, so we got G2 and Immortals going to start in 6 hours, 47 minutes, and 0 seconds. And honest to God, so from what it looks like for betting, as for pick a winner, it looks like G2 is everyone's saying G2 is going to beat Immortals, and I totally agree. There's literally no way that Immortals. I mean, this is a best of one, so who knows, right? If Immortals kind of shows. Kind of what they did at DreamHack Summer. Even though DreamHack Summer wasn't a super stacked tournament, they did beat SK at the first time in LAN. I think if KNG shows up the way he did at DreamHack Summer, I think they've at least got a fighting chance. And then if G2 also doesn't play very well, kind of like what they did in at this recent tournament here in ECS, I think that Immortals in London, I think Immortals has a pretty damn good chance at actually taking down G2. But as I say that, it may come down to map pool. It may not, really, if G2's players show up. I mean, if G2's players show up and are fragging, it really doesn't matter what map it is, right? Because, it's just fragging power. But I think G2 is the heavy favorite in this match. I don't think you can really make too much of an argument for Immortals in this match. I don't really know what yeah, okay, so here's the lineup. So you got KNG, Lucas, Steel, Bolts, Henny, Shocks, Kenias, Body, Apex, and NBK. And honestly, I think pretty much all of these guys from G2 can hold their weight for sure against Immortals, no problem. I think Henny would have to turn up this match. I think KNG would have to turn up this match. I think those two players are really key for Immortals if they want to try to win this game. If Body, or really any of the G2 players, like, step up their game to a pretty damn good amount, I think they will pretty much secure the match. I'm trying to see. Okay. Oh, so it's got their past matches. They did lose the FaZe, but they beat Optic 2-0, which I guess really isn't that much. They beat Virtus Pro here. See, look, Immortal, the 16-10 win against SK on Cash. Maybe that's something to kind of go off of. Maybe if they get Cash and they play up and they turn up, who knows? Maybe they'll be good. But at the same time, I think G2 is way better than in Cash. So I think this will be pretty good. If you look at their past matches, you can kind of see, as of recent, it looks like Immortals has won the past two matches. Um, but you know, and as you go down the list, you can see G2 has been, for the most part, the heavy favorite against Immortals. Again, this kind of goes back to Immortals' old roster, G2's old roster, so you can't look at this too much, but you can look at it for a pretty, you know, a little bit, right? But I do think G2 is definitely going to make it out of this match A-okay. No issues there for them. Alright, second game, Penta versus Optic. Now, I think this match is actually going to be really close. Penta showed at the EU minor that they were a very, very good team, not to be trifled with. That they are very, very. They actually performed very well at the EU minor. I'd say better than I thought they were going to. In fact, Penta has a 60% to Optic's 40%, average, to win this matchup, and I think that's fair to say as well. I think Penta is going to take this map off of Optic, just because of what they've shown here at the EU minor. You can look at their roster. I think the real question is how Hazed what Hazed has done with Optic these past few weeks. I know they didn't turn up at ECS, but I mean ECS was stacked and they did have the group of death, so you can't take too much out of that. But I think they really got screwed in that tournament in terms of group. But I think it's kind of hard to determine how well Optic will do with Hazed in as their new IGL. As for Penta, you've got Crystal, obviously, long time, member in Penta. You got HS, Sunny, Zen, and Innocent. I don't really know too much about these guys. I think I've heard of HS and Sunny and Crystal, maybe even Innocent, but not much. Again, not much to really go off of. But from what I saw at the EU minor, they performed very well, and I was very surprised with how well they did. So they lost 2-0 to Big, but they beat Dignitas, Envious, Dignitas twice actually, and iGame. Meanwhile, Optic lost to G2, lost to FaZe, but has beaten Misfit, Splice, and COG Academy, all of which have not shown up. I don't even think some of these teams even showed up in the North American minor, if I'm honest. So, yeah, I think Penta's got this one in the bag. Not much. Yeah, easy for Penta. Let's go. I don't think Penta's really got too much to concern with unless this Optic roster really just shows some firepower. I think it should be Penta win. Next match, Liquid versus Tyloo. Not much I'm going to say about this match. I think Liquid's going to blow them out of the water. I'm kind of surprised that this is so close, 57 and 42. I'm really shocked by that. I think Liquid is just going to mop the floor with Tyloo. I think that Tyloo, after their loss to Renegades, really kind of showed a little bit of weakness there. I don't think Renegades, really that tournament that Renegades and Tyloo played at the final, I think, I don't remember the name of the tournament. It was in Asia. But I think, that really kind of should, because Renegades isn't known to be some really, really good team in NA or anything. They're, below average in terms of, teams in North America, maybe in the middle. But if they can't take down Renegades in a best of 3, I'm not positive they can take Liquid down in a best of 1. I just don't see it happening. Maybe if their players, show up, I guess it's possible, right? Anything's possible if your players can show up. But I think the firepower that Liquid has is just going to just destroy Tyloo, and I think that the structure that Liquid has and mentality to the game that they have is just far superior to Tyloo. So I'm not even going to look at their match histories, if I'm honest. I really do think Liquid's going to blow that one out of the water. Godsent versus Dignitas. Dignitas has a 70% to Godsent's 30. And again, I really haven't seen much from Godsent. I don't really know too much. They've got Pronax, Disco, Dublins, Niger, Twist, and Lekro. So basically back to the old roster, which actually kind of upsets me. I liked Fnatic a lot during that E-League Major. I thought that they were a pretty sick lineup, but I guess they just wanted to go back to their old team. What do you mean, whatever. You got Fox, he played really well at the E-League Major. Rubino, who's pretty good at the time when he was on North. Jacob, who is a pretty good fragger for the most part. Croman, I don't know much about. And Tensky, who I think is pretty much. I'm pretty sure he's like a young superstar, but he's not like he's been in the scene, right? Um, same thing. You all know the players like Godson. Okay, we've all heard about them, right? But yeah, I think Dig should take this map. They performed pretty damn well actually uh, at the minor. Um, I was actually I was hoping they would go far in the minor because I do think that they are potentially a really really good team. I like the players on their team. I think that they're very skilled. I don't know their tactical side. I don't know much about their tactics or their style, but I do see that all these players have the ability, have the skill to be very very good. Um, so yeah, I think they should win this game. Um, and the biggest problem that I've really had with talking to people about this is more of the fashion in which teams are going to beat other teams. Like for example, I think this Dignitas Godsent match could be close. Who knows? Um, I think it could be a close game. I think the Liquid Tyloo game is going to be a blowout, but I think the Penta Optic game could, in theory, be close. I think the G2 Immortals game could be close, but I'm thinking G2 is going to come in swinging and just take them out. But who knows? Um, Mouse Sports versus Tengri. I don't know too much about Tengri, but I can assure you that how well Mouse Sports has done recently, Mouse Sports should win this game. It's around a 70-30 here in the predictions for people, and I think that's pretty fair to say. I think Mouse Sports is going to take this map. Not a big challenge for Mouse Sports, I don't think. We can finally see, Ropes is back into it. This is going to be his first major qualifier. I'm very excited for him. I don't really know many of the guys here on Tengri, if I'm honest. I don't know many of the CIS teams. I mean, obviously the only team that really everybody knows of is Vega Squadron because they took down NIP. So, yeah. But I think that Mouse Sports is pretty much going to sweep them, if I'm honest here. I mean, you look at the teams that they beat, and Mouse Sports would have just mopped the floor with these teams too. So, I pretty much, I'm pretty confident that Mouse Sports is going to win that game. If they don't, I'll be shocked. Hellraisers versus Vegas Squadron. I think that Hellraisers should win this game. Dead Fox is a god. Honestly, he's just amazing. Every time I watch the guy, he's just brilliant. 67.5 to 32, around a 70-30 there as well. I think Hellraisers should pretty much pick this one up pretty damn easily, to say the least. I think Vegas Squadron's a pretty decent team, but I don't think that they're really going to be able to do too much to Hellraisers. They're both CIS teams, and I think that Hellraisers is definitely better than them, so I think this one should be a pretty easy win for them. So now, let's move on to the next match. Flipside versus Renegades. Now, if this had been literally any other tournament, I would have agreed and said that Renegades should take this match, as these guys have been saying, 57 to 42, around a 60-40, close to that. But I think Flipside is going to take this, and really the only reason I believe Flipside is going to win this is because they always seem to make it out of these major qualifiers. They always seem to make it into the group stage. I don't know that they made it into the group stage of E-League now that I think about it. They must not have, right? Because they wouldn't be. Actually, they still would be here, but at least I think. I don't know. I'm not really thinking straight right now. But in terms of layout, but Flipside has shown they're pretty consistent in making it into group stages of majors. I don't feel like they're going to be any worse coming into this tournament. I think they're going to make it possibly. I think they're a very good possibility for making it into this group stage of the major, and I think that they will take down Renegades. I think it'll be close though because Renegades with their new rosters looked pretty good actually. Nifty has been pretty good. I really am a huge fan of Nifty. I've been a fan of Nifty ever since he was on Selfless. I think the guy's an incredible opper. He's a lot of skill, but just waiting to break out, I guess. And I think that he's a really, really good player. He's a really solid player. And I mean, you saw those cash clips. He's insane. Same goes for World Edit. The only problem with World Edit is he's super inconsistent. And he's been playing for a while, and the guy is just so inconsistent. He can either carry you to a win, or he can just play absolutely horrible, and could do very, very bad. I think Electronic is going to be a big player to look out for on Flipside. I think that he might turn up. He's a young star on their team. As for Renegades, I think you got to look at Nifty, JKS. I think they're pretty pretty crazy actually with their aim. I think same with Azur, he's pretty insane. I think Renegades has a pretty solid lineup. I like their new lineup, and I hope that they will do well in this tournament. But I'm not positive they will beat Flipside because of just how Flipside tends to do at these qualifiers. I think that's fair to say. Now this is the most controversial game that I have ever talked about ever at a major qualifier. Is Big versus Cloud. I just got a message by Steven. Yo, look at your team comments and John. Okay. I'll figure that out later. People problems, I guess. But this game, oh my god, it astonishes me that people think. I mean, she even shows in these predictions. Like, it's around a 60-40 people are saying that Cloud9 is just going to take down Big. And I think that if Cloud9 did not beat Astralis in that best of one at ECS, alright, if that hadn't happened, I think these predictions would be much different. I think that people would be thinking Big was going to win this game. And I'll tell you why. Because Cloud9 hasn't had a good performance all year until they beat Astralis at this ECS tournament. And I think, and their roster has been together for a year, and they had that big run in EPL, but then ever since then they just didn't perform. You know what the worst part was they won EPL, and then the next thing that they had to do was literally the major qualifier for E-League, and they didn't win. They didn't even make it out. They lost to, it was close. They lost to Hellraisers, I think, by 2 rounds or 1 round or something like that. But still, they did not make it out. And I'm sure there was an upset that happened somewhere in the middle of that, too. I'm not going to look back and check, but I'm pretty sure there probably was, knowing Cloud9. They're not a consistent team. And I think that Big has shown massive improvement since they formed. I think that they have shown a lot of a decent structure. I think their players are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Gob B has actually done pretty well. He's a very good in-game leader. He's shown as of recent he's got a few highlight clips in there. Definitely not a insane amount of frag clips. He is being an IGL. Obviously, I don't think that he should be fragging a lot less, like going negative every game. But in general, there's a little bit of a frag difference between IGLs, a little bit. And I think that actually the fact that Big has an IGL and C9 doesn't have a permanent IGL, I think is a huge factor coming into this match. I think the fact that C9 doesn't have an IGL is very worrying to me, because in my opinion, the way that Cloud9 plays is just not consistent, and you need consistency in order to be a top team all the time. You really do. And making one of your best players an IGL is just not going to cut it. Even splitting it, the role between 2 players is not good, because they're splitting it between their 2 best players, Stewie and Automatic. And I'm sorry, but those are your fraggers, man. Those are your big highlight clip players. Those are your star players. Do I think Shroud has been insane? Well, I mean, he did good at ECS, but again, other than that, he really hasn't turned up that much. I think Stewie and Automatic are their best 2 players right now. Skadoodle has shown up occasionally. He's been getting better as time has progressed. I think Nothing has been their consistent player for the most part, their stable player. But I do think that Gobby's being an IGL is a huge advantage for Big. Let me run down this Big lineup for you. You got Gobby. I already talked about him. Legia. I'm not too fond of Legia. He was on NRG. I don't really know that much about Legia in terms of his frag power, frag capability, and all that. I don't know too much about him. So I don't want to comment too much and say the wrong information. But I do know about Tabson. Tabson is insane. His aim is ridiculous. And I think people are going to realize that coming into this tournament. I think Tabson is going to go huge in this tournament. I think it's going to be a bloodbath for Tabson. I think he's just going to go off next. Another pretty good star player, supposed to be Nico's second in command, right-hand man, you know what I'm saying? And Nex is actually pretty skilled too. I think he's a really sick aimer. Kiev, insane with the op. Oh my goodness, the amount of clips that man has gotten with the op recently is insane. I know people are saying, the biggest thing I've gotten is, well, yeah, but the competition they face is tier 2. Are they really, they can't possibly do anywhere near as, put any damage into C9. I think C9 is going to roll over him. No, come on, get your bearings straight, people. Like, did you ever think Vega Squadron was gonna be NIP? No. Like, the skill gap between Big and Cloud9 is not that big. It's really not. Big won the EU minor. I'm pretty sure C9 won the NA minor, but still, Big won the EU minor. That is no easy task, especially when you consider the fact that Envious was in there right after their big EPL run, where they were looking super solid, and they were able to take them out in a 2-0. They took Penta out in a 2-0 and Dignitas in a 2-0, and I think that Big is a team to be feared in this tournament. I think they've got a pretty damn good chance at making it far in this tournament. Same with Cloud9. I think Cloud9 should be able to make it into this, and if they don't, I'll be really, really upset. But I'm saying, with this matchup, you really can't say Cloud9 is going to sweep the floor with Big. It's just not going to happen. I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll be a very close game, and I think Big has a pretty damn good chance at winning it. Alright? So, I just don't understand why people think Big is just going to get blown out of water. I am a Big fan, but I'm also a Cloud9 fan, alright? And I think, honest to God, that this is going to be probably the best match of the entire day. I mean, unless Immortals show up, maybe the G2 Immortals game could be good, but honest to God, I really do think that C9 Big game is the best match to watch tomorrow. I really do. I think it's going to be an insane match. Now, as for predictions for who's going to make it out into the major, these are my thoughts, right? And honestly, I don't really have this like drawn down or anything like that, so I'm going to kind of just think this up right now. Who knows, maybe I'll say a team wrong and I'll mess up or something along those lines, but like, no, it's okay, I'll be on in a second. Okay, so who do I think is going to make it out, right? So, 8 of these teams are making it into the major, okay? G2 is a given. There is no way that G2 doesn't make it out of this. Literally no way. G2 is by far the best team in this tournament. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. G2 is going to go far in this tournament. And there's practically no way they don't make it, okay? They're a top tier team. Way better, in my opinion, than every other team in this tournament. Especially if they show up, there will be no team who can even compare to them. If they show up. If they don't, it could get close. Alright, I will say that. But, yeah. So, G2, for sure. Definitely going to make it out. What other teams do I think will have a pretty damn good shot at making it out? I think Liquid has got a pretty damn good shot at making it out of this tournament. I think they've shown they're a very, very good team. So that's 2. Now, the rest of these teams actually are pretty dicey to choose. There's really no team that I see coming out of here as just a clear fucking favorite going to make it out. C9, I think, would be your next choice to make it out of here. And I think that is because, yeah, I mean, their ECS run was good. And they really did blow that game against FaZe, but I don't think that's something that you really need to, like, look at and go, but they choked this game, so they're going to choke again. Like, now, come on, alright? That was a one-time thing. That whole thing of, oh, C9's the new Liquid is just a joke, okay? Like, they did it one map, alright? Liquid did it, like, 3 to 4 times in a span of a month. Like, come on. Like, you can't even compare that. Yeah, it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as Liquid, alright? At the time. Liquid now is quite a bit better. So, you've got G2, you've got Liquid, and you've got Cloud9. Right? So that's 3 teams. We're about to make it 4. Now, I would want to say Immortals. My only thing with Immortals is that they've had chances in major qualifiers before to make it out, and they have not done it. And Immortals to me is hit or miss. They're kind of like G2, but they're not as good as G2. It's like if their players show up, they do really well, and they will make it out. If their players don't show up, they're not going to make it out of this qualifier. I'm sorry, but you've got tough competitors in this, and if you don't show up, you're not going to make it out. So for my 4th pick, who do I think is probably going to make it? We'll pick safe. We'll pick Flipside. All right, I think Flipside is a pretty safe one to go for, considering they've made it out of most of these major qualifiers. I think they're a safe bet to go with. Kind of along with Hellraisers, but I'm not positive that I want to put Hellraisers down as making it. Optic, I don't think is going to make it. I'm just being honest. I don't think Optic's going to make it. I don't think they're better than a lot of these teams. I think a lot of these teams, especially the EU ones, will do very well against Optic. so I'm not putting Optic down, unfortunately. So I've said G2, I've said Liquid, I said the flip side, Cloud9. We're going to go with Mouse Sports. I think Mouse Sports is also another pretty good one to go for, considering they did make it into the E-League major, but I think that their roster is more together, right? It's just so much more together, and I think that honestly, Nico leaving was good for both parties. Honest to God, I really do. I think Nico is way better on FaZe, and I think that Mouse Sports is way better now than they were. I think that shows maybe, you go, oh yeah, but Nico was dropping frags, but it's like, their composure now in Mouse Sports is just much better. So I think that they are a very good team to say that they will make it out, right? All right, so now I've got what, 3 more spots, and I think I know who I'm going to pick for those 3 more spots. I am going to take the gamble that Immortals does not make it out of this. And the biggest reason for it is because they are so hit or miss, and I can't confirm that Immortals is for sure making it out of this qualifier. I really can't. When you've got Penta, Dignitas, Mouse Sports, Liquid, G2, Cloud9, I don't know that Immortals can do that well. They really gotta they gotta show up, and I'm sorry, but they're not consistent enough for me to fully invest into their team. But I do think that Big has shown consistency, and here we go. Oh yeah, but Big is facing tier 2 teams. Immortals is facing the best teams in North America. Yeah, well, guess what, buddy boy? Look at EPL. Alright, look at EPL. Look at the NA teams in EPL. The skill gap is massive. In fact, in the NA EPL, there are quite a few tier 2 level teams in North American EPL. In EU EPL, not really. There's a few. Maybe. There's not really that many. C9 is facing tier 2 NA teams in EPL. They really are. It's not like Big is out of this, and I honestly think Big has shown massive improvement. I am a huge fan of Big. I think that they are doing very, very well, and I think that they will, in fact, make it into this major. I really do. And why shouldn't I believe so? They won the EU minor. They're the best bet for EU. Them and Penta, and I'm putting them both down. Big and Penta, I think, are both, gonna make it. And now I've got one more team. Right? I got one more team. And this one, in my opinion, is really between Hellraisers and Dignitas. That's what it's between. Hellraisers and Dignitas. And I think this one is kind of hard to call, because I haven't watched Hellraisers as of recent, and Dignitas wasn't doing too well until their minor performance. And to be honest, it's kind of like, go with the safe bet with Hellraisers, or do you think Dignitas is really going to show up? Right? And I'm going to go with the 2 EU, 2... did I do 2 CIS? What am I even talking about right now? I did not do 2 CIS. There's no goddamn way. No. Okay. Actually, no, it would be 2 CIS because I did choose flip side. So, yeah, I'm gonna give EU 2 chances. I'm gonna give CIS 2 chances. I'm gonna give CIS flip side and Hellraisers. I'm gonna give EU Penta and Big, which I think is fair to say. By far, I think those are four really decent predictions. I think Mouse Sports is gonna do pretty damn well. Obviously, Mouse Sports is EU 2, but okay, I'm just they were the 2 teams in the Big and Penta were 2 teams in the minor, and I think that they showed that they were pretty damn good, along with the likes of Mouse Sports. So yeah, and I think that's fair prediction. So we've got G2. Just to recap, G2, Penta, Liquid, Mousesports, Hellraisers, Flipside, Big, and Cloud9. That is my prediction for who is going to make it into this PGL Krakow 2017 Summer Major. I think this video is done. I think I've proven my points pretty damn well. I also think this video is way too damn long, if I'm completely honest here. I don't even know how long this video is, but you're gonna get a kick out of it, I guess. So thank you all for watching. Let me hold on. This is gonna annoy me if I don't change this just for the little ending here. Okay. Now I'm big. Ha! See what? Okay, I'm killing myself. Anyways, I hope you all have a great day. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about my predictions. Let's keep it civil. I don't want to get into a debate. I really don't. I mean, a nice debate, not like a, are you a fucking retard? You think Flipside is gonna make it, you dumbass? You think Flipside is a better team than Dignitas? Who do you think you are, scrub? None of that, okay? Just keep it civil. I've had a rough week. I don't need your crap. Sorry, I just don't. I don't need it. So let's have a discussion, a nice friendly discussion in the comment section about who you think is going to make it. I'm going to try to make these videos pretty much every day now. I think they might actually get a little bit shorter, tomorrow, because I'm not going to have to predict who's going to go into the major, so they'll probably be a little bit shorter. I thought it'll be like thoughts on the previous day, and also who I think is going to move on, based on performance from the first day, who I think really showed up, who hasn't, and stuff like that. I'm not going to be able to see many of the matches tomorrow because I have an internship that I'm doing right now, so I'm probably gonna miss most, if not all of them. So I'll keep track of the scores. I'll try to look at the stats, see who performed, and go off of that. But I mean, I know it's not a really good thing to go off of. That's why tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but the day after, on Friday, I will be able to actually watch the matches and give a good prediction on who I think is going to make it out. So I think that's a little bit more fair. And again, have a discussion in the comment section below. My last video, my montage, really didn't do that well, which is kind of depressing because I put way more work into that one than I literally have in any other montage I've ever made. Honest to God, I really have, and I only got like 33 views, so that kind of sucks. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.